Our thoughts and emotions control the chemical reactions in our body. And if we can learn how to utilize our mind and our emotions for our health and our benefit, then we can make huge strides in our life in every aspect of our life. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about some tips on how to achieve that and how we can live better and more full lives by starting to understand how to control our anxiety, our anger, our fear. And it is a fascinating subject, so I hope you stay with us and really get something of value from it. And if you do, then we'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. And this is going to be a fun little talk, because I think everybody, when you're alone, you're pretending to talk to somebody else, like you have a problem with a spouse or a partner, you want to figure out how to deal with a co-worker, or discussing family issues with a family member. At least for me, and most people I know, they will have full-out conversations with that person while they're either driving down the road, while they're in their house, while they're sitting around. Just all-out conversation about what they're going to say, how they're going to say it, and more often than not, that is a confrontational sort of talk, like, why are you doing this? Why'd you do it this way? Why? And so what we're doing is releasing those chemicals in our body and placing ourselves emotionally into a future that may or may not exist, depending on how we talk to ourselves about how we're going to resolve conflicts with somebody else. When we do pretend to have these discussions with other people, our emotions, we all know this from whenever we're real happy and we start laughing, or we hug somebody. Like, I just had the great privilege of hugging 3 of my good friends in the audience. And that changes my chemical makeup. Like, I feel better, I feel happier, I feel uplifted, like life feels good. And then when you feel anger at somebody, well, you can feel those chemical reactions in your body, and it's unhealthy. It is. So if we know it's unhealthy, and we know it's scientifically unhealthy, we need to learn how to control ourselves. And so that's what we just saw. That's what we're talking about. Our emotions can make us healthy, or we can be diseased. We can be at ease with ourselves, or we can be in a form of dis-ease. And that is a fascinating conversation, because there are so many. I just clipped a headline. There's so many of them. There are just hundreds of studies, peer-reviewed scientific studies, and I'll put some of these in the description, that so many researchers have actually shown how anger and stress and anxiety release adverse chemicals inside of our body and can make us have joint aches, body aches, headaches, can increase the likelihood of us getting cancer, all sorts of really, really, really bad problems. And in one of these studies I pulled up, and it was a quote inside, or the very beginning of the study, from Buddha, and I thought it was really appropriate for this conversation, because you will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. So every time you get angry or frustrated, instead of dealing with it from a place of compassion and trying to understand it out of a place of calm and relaxation, we are harming ourselves. And we all know this. Like, you get so mad, you get frustrated, you feel like steam's coming out of your ears. And all of us have had this, where we just go, oh God, you can't even think straight. You're so aggravated. And what does that do to our bodies? So all these studies basically show the same thing. It increases blood pressure. That's a big problem. It creates all sorts of arterial and tension and stress. It elevates our heart rates. It increases our blood glucose levels, and so many other things that are really harmful. So the more we get angry, the more we don't learn how to control ourselves, like we're going to discuss in a minute, we are causing our bodies to lose its immune power, its power to heal itself and to protect itself and ourselves from adverse things. We've all done this. So the more we can't control ourselves, the faster we're going to end up in a casket. That is just the way it is. And there is no reason for any of us, anywhere, at any time, to lose control of our emotions, to snap. And we're all responsible for doing this. I'm certainly no exception. But the more you stay aware of yourself, the more you focus on yourself, the more you work on that, you can create these positive ripples that go from you to the outside world. And if we're going to change this world for the better, we can only do it by starting with ourselves. And if we can start it by ourselves and we start to become good examples, that ripples out to our closest friends, that ripples out to their families, and that just continues to make positive changes in the world. And it's a daunting task sometimes to think that we can control our emotions. And this is just great. I mean, according to Ruth, however you say this name, Brushagantich or something, PhD, it's if you're looking at a brain that has some issues, like in the top right, you can either look at that like you know you're having like mental problems, you know you're getting, you don't know how to deal with an angry spouse or somebody that doesn't want to listen to you. You can feel how that negatively affects you. But you also have the other option, because I love this picture that I found yesterday, of a guy looking at his own brain. Like, picturing yourself looking at yourself. Like, wow, am I really acting that way? Am I the cause of my own dis-ease? And more often than not, the answer is yes. And it is only us, like me, you, we have the power to positively or negatively alter our health by our thoughts, emotions, and our actions. And then here's the big question, because this is what we all struggle with. How do we keep ourselves calm, cool, and collected? It's a difficult thing, meaning how do we control our own emotions? Sometimes that can be a really daunting task. And there are a couple of things that have continued to help me and helped other people that I know really well. And for one, it's breathing exercises. If y'all do not know what breathing exercises are, I highly recommend just go to YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, any of the places that you can find great content, and just type in, just do a search, breathing exercises to heal. And just doing those really every day, because you can do 5-10 minute exercises. They're great. I do not do them every day. I wish I did them every day. And now that I know that I should be doing them every day, I'm going to start incorporating that into my practice. But I still do them about once a week, once every week and a half. And they do make a massive, massive difference in how I feel. And you have to respectfully communicate and listen. If we hear somebody else and we feel like we're being attacked, they're attacking us in a way that is rubbing us the wrong way. We're like, I don't think so, buddy. You're not going to talk to me that way. I'm not going to listen to you. Everything you're saying is against my belief system. I'm just totally shutting down. And then you don't hear anything that they're saying. So if you have a loved one or a coworker or somebody that you want to get along with, the first thing we have to do is listen. We can't assume that we're going to know what they're going to say. We can't interrupt them and go, oh, I know what they're about to say. I'll just say it for them real quick and we move on to something else. That's not communication. That's not listening. And we've been harping on this for a while now, because the more that we dive into this subject of communication, the more I have come to realize that if we can't communicate with ourselves clearly, if we can't communicate with others clearly and effectively, then there's no way we can honestly connect with the energies of the universe, if you want to call that. A lot of people, thousands of people watch us, and some people are Buddhist, some people are Christian, Muslim. It just doesn't matter. The universal God, if we can't be open and honest with ourselves, there's no way we're going to be able to feel that energy for ourselves. It's impossible, in my opinion. This is what I love to do. This has helped me immensely, is to thoughtfully articulate letters. And over the years, pat myself on the back, I've gotten pretty good at that. And if you're not good at it, if you've never practiced it, just try it. If somebody's really upset you and y'all have just gone y'all separate ways, or you're thinking about going your separate ways, whether it's a good friend, a brother, sister, dad, whatever, spouse, write it down. Write down every single thing that was offensive, so you can really think about it, and then you can start to realize, okay, some of that may have been a result of my own actions. Some of it was them. And when you write down all of those things, it gets it off your chest. You can either elect to give it to them or not, depends what's appropriate. I typically don't. I set it in a file, and then once it's gone, it is gone. It's like just lifting up a big bag of bricks inside of me, just throwing them over there. I'm like, wow, this feels so good. I'm lighter. I feel like I can move around. It's like great. I highly recommend writing that stuff down, or put it in a journal, which is equally as awesome. And to meditate or pray, just sit by yourself. Focus on those things that are irritating you and ask yourself why. What can I do better? How can I react in ways that come from a place of caring? Because most of the people that are around us, we care for them. We have a deep affection for most people that are always around us. And if we're doing something to irritate them or they're doing something to irritate us, then we already care for them and love them. So then when we think about that problem with them, we have to come from this place if we want to resolve it. And if we want to resolve it, we have to be in a place of compassion and love and understanding. So that relationship can continue to flourish and be healthy for both people. And sitting in quiet and meditating is a wonderful, wonderful way to do that. And this is the big thing. This is hard for most of us to do, is to forgive. And if you think they're not peer-reviewed studies by acclaimed scientists that forgiveness actually has health benefits, well, you would be wrong, because there are a lot of them. Even Johns Hopkins Hospital has done many studies on it. And forgiveness is powerful. It's the same way. It's like just scraping off all that nasty stuff inside of you and just see you later. It is pretty remarkable. And we can forgive a person while they're alive, after they're dead, from afar. Like, I've had conflicts with people. I just don't want their energies around mine. I know that they're not ready to be around me without negative energy flowing into me, and I don't want to have to deal with that. So I can love them from over there. Like, I know they're over there. Maybe one day they'll start to have a better mindset that we can have open, honest communication with each other. But until then, I can forgive them and love them from over there. That you just stay over there, and I love you from that place. And if it ever comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we can still forgive. That doesn't mean you have to forget. It just means you can forgive. And ultimately, this all boils down to, we have to talk to ourselves with love and compassion. If we don't treat ourselves well, nobody's going to treat us well. If we don't treat our communications with other people in a way that makes sense for both parties, we're not going to have true, deep, meaningful relationships. And we're going to cause ultimately harm to ourselves. And we can look at the death rates in the United States. They're horrible. We keep dying at younger and younger ages. It's because a whole host of problems, from all sorts of stuff they put in the food and stuff in the water and what they're spraying in the skies, and just the list of adverse things going on to harm the human body is a long list. But we can negate a lot of that just by our own mental attitude, how we perceive ourselves and our body, and knowing that on a cellular level, our emotions start to create chemicals and do bad things, or they can do really good, positive things. So with that, if y'all are in the local area, come see us every Sunday at 1:30. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. And more importantly, be good to yourself and be good to everybody else. Thank y'all. We'll see you next time.